Hello, you're watching TVS News at 5 with me, Douglas Elliott. It's Wednesday, October 13. We begin with our top story. Sarawak began administering the booster shots of the COVID-19 vaccine. The inoculation process, which started today, are primarily for high-risk groups such as senior citizens and medical frontliners.
Sarawak Health Department Deputy Director for Public Health, Dr. Rosmawati Arifin, said the booster shot would provide additional protection to the vulnerable, such as those with low immune systems. Thereby, the administration of additional dosage are for individuals who have an inadequate immune response to a series of vaccination or may have decreased over time. Those who fall into the categories can contact the respective clinics in advance to make an appointment. The booster shots would be available at selected government health clinics, private hospitals, and private health clinics. The list of participating healthcare centers will be announced soon. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin, in his recent visit to Sarawak, announced that Sarawak will be the first state to administer the booster dose program, as it was the first to complete the vaccination program.
And following that, here's everything you need to know about the COVID-19 booster shot administered by the Health Ministry. Pfizer vaccine has been approved as the booster dose, and to date, approval has been given for vaccines that have similar functions with vaccines that have been given successfully at the early stage. Interval of the third dose is at least 28 days after receiving the second dose, whereas at least 6 months after receiving the second dose for the booster shot. Priority for the administration of the third dose of the COVID-19 vaccine and booster shots are as follow. For the third dose, immunocompromised or systemic group with weakened immune system, whereas for the booster shots, it's for the senior citizens over 60 years old and medical frontline officers. Meanwhile, with an increase in flight frequencies, airline flight tickets are expected to reduce substantially. State Minister of Transport, Dato Sri Lee Kim Shin, hoped that airlines will offer a more reasonable and affordable airfare to the public and travellers.
Kim Shin said his ministry had engaged with Malaysia Aviation Commission and Ministry of Transport, Malaysia on September 28, where Ministry of Transport Sarawak had presented the new flight frequency and proposed flight schedule in the meeting. Subsequently, Malaysia Aviation Commission, as the authority, had engaged with all the airline operators on the new flight schedule and taken various factors into consideration, such as manpower, aircraft mobilization, and flight connectivity. The new flight frequency and schedule for major airports in Sarawak, which the airlines had proposed and approved by Malaysia Aviation Commission, to date has taken effect on 8 October 2021 onwards. Earlier, the Sarawak Disaster Management Committee, SDMC, decided on 24th of September 2021 that the flight frequency to Sarawak will be gradually increased to support the revival of the economy, especially in the tourism sector.
And this just in, an army personnel fired several shots at a house at Kampung Kolong 1, Sungai Tengah around noon today, killing himself in the process and leaving at least one injured. The personnel was believed to have shot himself and the victim with an M4 carbine rifle he brought from the army camp. The suspect is said to be in his 20s and attached to the army camp in Tondong Bau. According to police source, the injured victim is the suspect's mother-in-law, who is in her 50s. She was shot in the left shoulder and was brought to the Sarawak General Hospital and is currently in a stable condition. Police are still investigating the incident. An attempt to smuggle themselves into the state were foiled by authorities during the ongoing operation dubbed Op Pentang. 14 Indonesian nationals were arrested by the Malaysian Armed Forces in 3 separate incidents. The 1st Infantry Division headquarters in a statement said the illegal immigrants were detained and ordered to turn back from the Malaysian border, and a police report was lodged for further action.
The first incident took place around 10:05 a.m. on Tuesday, October 12, where 2 individuals aged 39 and 42 tried to sneak their way into Sarawak near the border town of Tebadu. The second held-up occurred at 5 p.m. on the same day, involving 7 individuals aged between 19 and 52 who tried to enter Sarawak via illegal routes near Biawak, Lundu. Meanwhile, the third incident happened on Wednesday, October 13 at 11 a.m., where 5 individuals between the age of 24 and 47, including a female, was caught attempting to enter Sarawak illegally through red routes near Biawak, Lundu. Upon questioning, all 14 suspects failed to present valid documentation and stated that their purpose of entry was to find a job in Malaysia. The Op Pentang initiative will continue to prevent illegal intrusions and cross-border crime activities at all times.
TVS mempersembahkan sebuah drama baru. Seorang jelitawan muda mendapat satu peluang untuk mengubah hidupnya. Namun, kehidupan di istana tidak indah seperti yang dibayangkan. Pengkhianatan, konspirasi, dan manipulasi. Mempersembahkan Sun Lee, calon anugerah antarabangsa Emmy untuk pelakon terbaik sebagai Zheng Huan. Di dalam drama hebat Empresses in the Palace, Isnin hingga Khamis 9.30 malam di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan MyTV.
Untuk episod talk, kita pertama sekali akan pergi ke Donut Boy. Macam-macam ada di Sia. Nang best dekat Etitah Restaurant and Resort Belawai. Kita akan bertemu dengan seorang usahawan yang cukup bangga dengan produk yang dipolahnya, buah durian dan dabe. Bersama kami Yusuf dalam rancangan Keringat Usahawan.
Kalau dulu zaman peperangan pemberontakan, clearing ini juga sebagai satu pengumian tempat bersumpah dan sebagai satu pelindung kepada komuniti kita.
Ianya diguna kerana ia memudahkan, dia akan menjauhkan tubuh badan dari kepanasan.
Ada dua makhluk, kepala dia berada di bawah, satu kepala dia berada di atas. Berkemungkinan dia cuba untuk bercakap tentang balance.
Welcome back. 10 work packages under Phase 1 of the Pan-Borneo Highway project from Sematang to Miri have reached 71% completion as of September. Deputy Work Minister Dr. Arthur Joseph Kurup expressed that just like other government projects, the COVID-19 pandemic has also impacted the construction work progress of the LPB project in Sarawak, which is expected to be completed in September of next year.
Arthur, who was questioned by Senator Dr. Noing Jeluing on the status of the construction of the LPB project at Dewan Negara today, said the 16.117 billion ringgit worth project, which has 11 work packages and commenced in October 2015, involves the construction of a 786-kilometre stretch of road from Teluk Melano to Miri. He said the Works Ministry would continuously monitor the progress of the project through regular visits and engagement sessions with the contractors and consultants involved. The Teluk Melano to Sematang work package, which was also under the same phase of the project, was completed in January 2019.
And next week, we'll witness Malaysians fighting COVID-19 on a new battlefield of endemicity with new strategies in place. As more restrictions were lifted and interstate and overseas travel resumed, it is of everyone's responsibility to play their roles in ensuring their families safe from COVID-19.
Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said the onus is on the people to play their roles to keep Keluarga Malaysia safe from COVID-19. Dr. Noor Hisham said that everyone must adapt to these norms and understand that the world will not be the same anymore. He said everyone must have social discipline and social compliance with SOPs. On Sunday, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob announced that the interstate travel and all local tourism activities would resume from Monday. This is following the country have achieved the 90% of adult population were fully vaccinated against COVID-19.
In the move to ratify its position in the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership or RCEP, the Malaysia government is currently drafting an amendment to its 3 acts that are in line with its obligations. The partnership was signed by 15 ASEAN countries on November 15 last year, and that the agreement will only come into force after at least 6 ASEAN member states and 3 ASEAN dialogue partners ratified it.
Of the 15 countries that signed the RCEP, there are 10 ASEAN member states and 5 ASEAN dialogue partners, including Australia, China, South Korea, Japan, and New Zealand. Deputy International Trade and Industry Minister Datuk Lim Ban Hong said the Attorney General's chamber is refining the draft amendments. They are the Patents Act 1983, Copyright Act 1987, and Trademarks Act 2019, which are under the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs. The acts are expected to be tabled in Parliament at year-end. According to Ban Hong, so far China, Japan and Singapore are among the countries that have ratified the RCEP, and the agreement is expected to be effective from January 2022.
And the World Health Organization, WHO, is awaiting full clinical data on the antiviral pill made by US-based pharmaceuticals Merck & Co. in treating mild to moderate COVID-19 patients.
A WHO spokesperson told media on Tuesday, a day after the company said it had applied for US emergency use authorization.
Indeed, this is an interesting development, and we yet have to see the full data about it. If it holds true, then it is another weapon in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. And let's not forget all the other weapons we have, and it's always important to remind. So drugs and vaccines are important.
The treatment, molnupiravir, cut the rate of hospitalization and death by 50% in a trial of mild to moderately ill patients who had at least one risk factor for the disease, according to data released this month. Meanwhile, the WHO recommended that immunocompromised people be given an additional dose of COVID-19 vaccine due to their higher risk of breakthrough infections after standard immunization. It also said the additional dose should be offered as part of an extended primary series, as these individuals are less likely to respond adequately to vaccination and are at high risk of severe COVID-19 disease. The panel also recommended that people over 60 receive an additional dose of the shots made by Chinese vaccine makers Sinopharm and Sinovac 1 to 3 months after completing their schedule.
And that's all the latest time we have for News at 5. For the latest update, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube and TikTok. I'm Douglas Elliott. Thank you and till then.